What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sports PSP podcast. I am your host, Sports PSP. Unfortunately, tonight BRF cannot make it to the building. He's got some family things. Long, exhausting day from work. I totally understand the brother, but BRF, as always, we're gonna hold it down for you. But of course, I cannot do the Sports PSP podcast without my main man, all the way down from Columbus, Georgia. He is the five-time college degree champion. He is the military man and veteran. He is the Al Roker of journalism. He is the young Charles Barkley, the young Ruben Studdard. He's all that in a bag of chips. He is the Ahmad Rashad when it comes to the WNBA. Brilliant, knowledgeable. He's Ace's best sibling. He is D's hysterical and hilarious friend. He is Mama Champ's number one favorite son. There's a reason why his father called him Champ for a reason. The one and only, the big fella, undisputed world champ. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just glad to be here, man. Look, shout out to Sports PSP. He retired my old mic for me. So I'm going to give, hey, if somebody does something for you out loud, you have to give them credit out loud. And so you may not be able to see it. I'm going to put it up for you right now. This is the brand new mic, courtesy of PSP and Mama PSP. And let's not forget D. So, hey, thank y'all for that. That other mic got me through over 1,000 shows, but it was time for it to be retired. And thankfully, I got a friend like PSP who had my back, and he was able to do a lot of things. This damn thing is top notch. So PSP, on behalf of myself and the Undisputed GOAT podcast, I'd like to thank you for that and what you always do for the Undisputed GOAT podcast and myself, because I always tell people, as well as BRF, we always tell people just because PSP is not on the Undisputed GOAT podcast all the time does not mean he's not involved. So I would like to personally take this time to thank PSP, Mama PSP, and I call them the New Jersey, New York connection, and D for this magnificent gift, this Christmas in June present, I would like to say. Nothing like great friends. That's like I always say, check on your people and shout out to all our people, man. But like I stated, if something is going to be done for you loud, thank people out loud. So thank you, PSP, Mama PSP, and of course the Magnificent D. I really appreciate that.
Well, the Magnificent D is actually going on a little vacation, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, she's actually in Mexico right now.
Mm.
So shout out to the beautiful D, and rightfully so. She works her ass off every single day. And also next week, Mama PSP's birthday. So Mama's PSP will definitely have something. I don't know if I'm gonna take her out shopping or give her $100 or something, but I'm gonna do something for Mama PSP. But as always, big fella, thank you as always for your contributions on the Sports PSP podcast. I hope you enjoyed the microphone. I know it's a excellent microphone. I,
Yes,
I
it
wanted
is.
I wanted to get you the Shure one, but unfortunately that was too much money for me.
No,
But
this is enough. Like I didn't even expect that. Like we had a conversation last night. If you don't mind me breaking it to the light, we had a conversation last night. I get my packages shipped to another area. Won't tell anybody what area I'm sending it to, but I don't want you to get the drop on me. I actually went over there to get another the Tennessee Volunteers stuff that you sent me, which will be going up on the wall soon. Granted, it's my arch rival, but you know it is SEC. But I digress. Went over there to get that. PSP called me back like 5 minutes later. Hey, did you get the microphone? Like what microphone you talking? Because I thought it was
no, I
one of
got
my
you.
people's shoes because it looked like a shoebox. But it's just like I thought it was some shoes. But
No, I got you too. I got you two gifts: that volunteers thing and the microphone. I
yeah,
thought somebody in your family was trying to hide or sneak the microphone away from you.
no, no. I actually thought it was a pair. You know, at the family member's house, I thought it was a pair of their shoes because they do a lot of Amazon packages. I'm like, that's somebody's shoes. So I walked right past it, walked out the house till you said something the very next day. She was like, "Did you get the mic?" I'm like, "What mic you talking about?" I said, "I saw the Tennessee Volunteers thing, and I saw a pair of shoes on there." Like, no, that's a mic. And lo and behold, the minute after you call, a certain family member called me. It's like, "Hey, you need to come over here and get this microphone. I'm like, there's a microphone over there. It was like, oh yes, come over here and get this out my house. So like, yeah. So like I said, if people do stuff for you out loud, make sure you thank them out loud. So
Mhm.
I appreciate that PSP and everybody, the New Jersey, New York connection, I would say.
Well, I figured you needed an upgrade with the microphone. It was nice while it lasted with the old one. Now you got the new one. Heck, you can even do more things with it on TikTok, on Instagram, and a lot of other things. As you always know. Shout out to Mama Champ. I don't know, just to bug you, I'll probably give Mama Champ some Aints gear. But big fella, man, we got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about the NBA draft real quick. What are your thoughts about the NBA draft? AJ Diabonsta, number one overall pick. Shocking thing is he has no agent, none whatsoever. Derek Peterson, number two overall. Darius Acuff went seventh overall. I think the Bulls actually did well with the draft by getting Caleb Wilson and also the guard from Texas. He can defend, he can handle the ball. Still got to work on his shot. I think for San Antonio, getting the big men from Kentucky, I like that because again, for Wemby, it gives him much needed rest, and you need an interior because you can't expect Luke Cornett to come off the bench and provide that for you. No, you need some interior, you need some rim protection. So for San Antonio, I do like, but overall, what were your thoughts about the draft?
It went exactly as I thought it was, and that was where I was going. They actually got that guy from Kentucky. I forget his name. Looking up his name right now. Uh, he they got him to go along with Wimby, and that is gonna destroy the league for a long period of time. That is going to destroy the league for a long period of time. Now you have something like Twin Towers as far as Wimby and himself. I can't pronounce his right, but I think his name is Jaden Quaintness. Jaden Quaintness.
Yes.
Jaden Quaintness. And he's one hell of a player coming out of Kentucky as well, man. I'm looking at his.
Durability is just an issue with him. That's all.
Yeah, and that's not the first Kentucky guy to have durability issues. Remember the great Sam Bowie? He had those durability issues, but when he was on the floor, he was, very, very effective. But when you look at him and what he was able to do at the University of Kentucky, he did a damn good job at a certain point. Well, excuse me, he was at the University of Arizona because you remember he was injured last year. He was injured for most of last year, but when he was at the University of Arizona, he was a great shot blocker. He was a great defensive rebounder, great offensive rebounder, and he averaged 2.6 blocks a game. So basically, he's providing additional rim protection for Wimby at this point. So durability will be a question, but he did do a lot of great things when it came to the University of Arizona. Remember last year at Kentucky, he didn't really play a lot, but
Yeah,
hey,
he
I'm,
only
I'm
played like 4 games, I think.
yeah, he played like 4 games. I mean, one game he only started like one. But the draft went the way I expected. It wasn't any big, huge surprise. I think the second round is when all the trades and everything started happening. I think the biggest surprise is most of the trades happened after the draft. Especially after the first round. So a lot of these trades happen. During that time, and it's just like, oh wow, I thought it was gonna happen during the draft, not necessarily after the fact. But it went exactly how I expected. The usual suspects went to the normal place. I'm glad the Atlanta Hawks was able to do a great job. It was good to see an undrafted free agent, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was
Mhm.
good to see him get picked up by none other than my Los Angeles Lakers.
Lakers
So
because
yeah,
of the
so it was a good draft. It was a good coverage, and I'm happy to see the NBA. As far as ratings goes, they are right up there. Remember, the NBA championship uh, averaged over almost 30 million viewers. And that was the most since Michael Jordan's last game. So that just goes to show you that the NBA heading in the right directions, man. Heading in the right direction. So big ups to the NBA for doing what they're doing.
also for the Lakers, you also got that guard from Baylor, Cameron Carr,
Mm-hmm.
very athletic player. So I think that definitely helps you. You also re-signed Austin Reeves to a 4-year deal. I do like for the Suns, Koa Pete out of Arizona. I mean, he's about 6'7", 240, 250, but NBA size. He can play the four. He's got a nice mid-range game. He can post up, so I think that can add something for the Suns. But for the Lakers, you need to figure out a way to get a big fella because last year, from what you saw from DeAndre Ayton,
Yeah,
eh,
one worth the salt in the bread. Now we did get good news earlier today because apparently Jalen Durham is not intrigued by the Detroit Pistons' new deal for him at this point. Now
right.
he's eligible for a supermax contract after making All NBA. So he wants that max money, but right now he's not intrigued, and they're talking about pursuing a sign and trade for him at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't know what kind of asset that we have, but I'm gonna just be real. The NBA is going to always pull some strings for the Lakers, no matter what they do or don't have. It's unfortunate, but they're kind of like Jerry Jones. It's kind of like they're gonna make salary cap available so that Jerry Jones can have certain players. They're gonna make adjustments. So don't be surprised if Jalen Durham ends up in a Laker uniform this year. And I'd love to have him. By the way, I'd love to have him.
What do you think about the Oklahoma City Thunder? They got the big man Ade Mara, the big man from Michigan. I like him a lot. He can pass the ball, play make, but still got to work on his shot. I mean, there are times if you look at highlights, if you just look at the college tournament, a lot of times they were daring him, leaving him open, and because they know he's not going to attempt a jump shot. But I think for another big to help out with Shet, I mean, look, Shed is still their future, but he did come off a disappointing postseason against the San Antonio Spurs, albeit against Victor Wembanyama. But he was the number 2 overall pick. But I do like it for Oklahoma City Thunder to get a big like Aiden Mara. He can come off the bench and help out though.
Yeah, they did that strictly from what you said, just to get Chet some help in the middle. It was just to get him more help in the middle, though, so he can battle Wimby, so he can battle Jokic, among a lot of other great centers in this league. It's just to get him more help in the middle. He is their future, but they're going to get him. He needed more help in the middle down low, especially if you're going to get cooked the way he did against Wimby. So it's really to get him more help against Wimby and these big time centers in the Western Conference at this point in time. Not to mention when you got defensive stoppers like a Rudy Gobert there that can for much of his defensive prowesses is concerned, he's mainly a defensive guy, but he can get you a couple of buckets here and there. He can have a good game here and there. So that's exactly what they brought him in for, in order to get additional rim protection and to provide, some more help with them against, guys like Wemby and Jokic.
Absolutely. Big fella, let's get to the other big NBA news. Giannis Antetokounmpo traded to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, they received Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis. Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Bucks received Tyler Hero, Jamie Jazzquez Jr., Khalil Ware, Kasparis Jakunas. I hope I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. They also got this year's 13th overall pick in the 2026 NBA draft, a 2030 first round pick swap, and unprotected first round picks in 2031 and 2033, and a 2033 second round pick. Who do you think won the trade?
It was pretty much an even trade, if you really want me to be honest with you, because
But
really
if you had to
nobody
pick, though,
nobody really won anything. If you really look at it, had Giannis gone to Philadelphia, had he gone to New York, had he gone to Los Angeles, had he gone pretty much to a true contender,
Boston,
Boston, especially Boston, which I believe they dropped the ball again at this point in time. And it's only a matter of time before, with all this shopping that Jalen Brown has been up under, that he probably request a trade at this point in time. But that's a whole nother story for another day. For Giannis, I have to say the Miami Heat won because they got the better player, and I really don't trust the front office of the Milwaukee Bucks because they've let one of the greatest players, arguably in recent memory, they let his prime go down the tube because of bad front office moves, coaching instability, among other things. But when you really look at it, the Miami Heat won the battle But the war is far from over because you basically went from Milwaukee North to Milwaukee South. Your best second option last year was Miles Turner. Your best second option now is Bam Adebayo. So basically, you went from the same situation, but to a better organization with better coaching and a better front office. You don't really have superstars on the wings at this point. There's not that one big superstar on the wing that's going to help you guys. You got two big time bigs, that being Bam and Giannis, and then how are you going to fill out the rest of this roster? Who are you going to get in free agency? Who are you going to get to play the wings? Who are you going to get as that wing defender? So it's basically Bobby Portis, Bam, and Giannis. Basically the same thing that you had up in Milwaukee. So what is going to be your excuse this time when you lose? Now we all know the Godfather is gonna work his magic. You know the Godfather being Pat Riley. But for now, at least, you just went from Milwaukee North to Milwaukee South. I have to give this win to the Miami Heat because you know they're going to do something eventually with this trade, and I don't really trust the Milwaukee front office or their coaching or their organization at this point to handle those draft picks right. Had it been the Miami Heat, they probably would be able to handle those draft picks right. Had it been any other organization, I'd say, yeah, you got to look. You paid a high price and they're going to take advantage of it. But Milwaukee, I don't really have any faith in them. But as far as Giannis is concerned, you basically went from Milwaukee North to Milwaukee South. You still don't have the adequate amount of help that you were looking for when you were in Milwaukee. Now you got it down low and in the post, and Bam Adebayo has a good mid range, but you don't have a guard in order
You
to
don't
take
have
the
that guy
attention.
to create his own
Yeah,
bucket.
you don't have that guy that's in the backcourt that is that shot creator and playmaker that's going to take the attention off you and the bigs down below.
I think for me, champ, Miami, Milwaukee, you could look at it from that standpoint. You could look at it, but again, they're in a new process with a new head coach. They moved on from Doc Rivers. So they're in a new direction with the head coach. I believe Taylor Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken, is the head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. We just want to double check. But my thing is, Taylor Jenkins is, yep, he is the head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. By the way, did a solid job for the Memphis Grizzlies before he was let go.
Yeah,
I think with Milwaukee, it depends on how you utilize and how you maximize these first round picks. You got a ton of draft compensation. I was kind of surprised that he went to Miami instead of Boston, but it seemed to me Miami was offering more than Milwaukee could refuse. Could this help Miami compete? No, I still believe that New York is the team to come out the East. Because again, with the roster as presently constructed and plus the backcourt, yeah, you have Giannis and Bam out in the front court, but at the same time, you need backcourts. You need guys to create their own buckets. You also need passing. You also need playmaking. Miami needs shooters. You missed out on that. So how are you going to address that in free agency? That's the thing. That's the thing. If I'm Miami, yeah, it does. I mean, it's not really to brag at who really won this trade, but I guess Miami only because it adds depth to their front court. And yes, Giannis has structure in Miami with Pat Riley and Mickey Arison, but it's not going to be enough for me to say Miami's going to come out the East. I would be intrigued to see what Milwaukee can do in the meantime. With Taylor Jenkins as the head coach, no expectations. You're the first year there. Now you got some guys who can get their own buckets. Tyler Hero is going to get his own buckets. I expect Tyler Hero to give me at least 20-22 points a night. So when I look at that, when I look at Milwaukee, no one's expecting Milwaukee to compete. They're definitely going to be a top 5, top 3 pick in the draft in the years to come.
yeah.
So depends on how do they build these players, how do they draft talent, and how do they develop it. Miami, I don't think they're gonna come out the East until the next couple of years until you start surrounding Giannis with some shooters as well as Bam. Miami's not getting anywhere.
No, they don't have any shooters. They don't have any playmakers on that team. Granted, we know the Godfather. Once he gets a superstar player, it's only a matter of time before he gets them the help that they need in order to surround them. It could be this year, it could be the very next year. But the Godfather, Pat Riley, he's going to get them to where they need to be. It's just not going to be this year.
No,
They're
I
going to
think
have.
in
It's
the
going to
years
be
to come.
exciting. Hmm?
In the years to come, I believe in the years to
Yeah.
come, eventually he'll pull off with something. You just say Miami because you trust Pat Riley's knowledge and expertise as opposed to Milwaukee because you're unsure what are they going to do with those draft picks.
No, man, I'm not. I have no faith in Milwaukee Bucks organization. They fumbled so many great players in that organization in its history, from Terry Cummings to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to Sidney Moncrief, now Giannis. So,
Ray Allen
I,
as well.
Ray Allen, Ben Baker, uh, Sherman, you name it, they fumbled them.
Michael
They
Redd.
fumbled. Yeah, Michael Redd, Darwin Ham. They fumbled a lot of players in that organization. So I have no faith in that organization at all.
What do you think about LaMelo trade? Getting traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Charlotte, they get a bunch of draft compensation and they get Nas Reed. I think for Minnesota, it will help because you pair him up with Anthony Edwards, except them two off the court. That's a different story for another day. We ain't going to get into that.
No,
But
you want to go there, you got to go to Google.
on the court, I do think it helps out Anthony Edwards because now he can have a ball handler like LaMelo so that Anthony Edwards can move off the ball. You still got Rudy Gobert as far as rebounding and defense. You got Jaden McDaniels. So I do like it for Minnesota. As for Charlotte, I mean, it was kind of disappointing because you were that close. You entered the play-in tournament. You were one game away from advancing to the NBA playoffs, and then you got blown out by Orlando. So I think Minnesota won this one so far, but you look at Charlotte, there's nothing to sneeze at. Canupo was the runner-up for Rookie of the Year. They re-signed Kobe White. So, and you get Nas Reed, a former Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah.
So Charlotte, to me, they were coming. I mean, look, they entered the play-in tournament. They could be a team to actually come and make the playoffs. So I think
Good.
for now, Minnesota won this trade. But what are your thoughts?
There's gonna be a lot of volatile egos in Minnesota, though, man.
Oh,
There's a
LeVar
lot of
going to be there.
volatileness, huh?
LeVar going to be there.
Yeah. Shout out to LeVar Ball, man, going through his own little situation right about now, too, man. Shout out to Mr. LeVar Ball. I know he gets a lot of criticism because of his mannerism, but nevertheless, his sons are there because of him. But I digress. Um,
Good family man.
yeah, man. It's gonna be a lot of volatileness, man. I can't wait to see what they gonna do. I hope that this equals. I'm just gonna be real. I'm hoping that this brings about a championship and not a repeat of the Portland Trailblazers in Minnesota. Remember the old Portland Jailblazers that was
Yeah, the
in
jail with with Damon Stoudemire,
out of my
Bonzi
eye. Yeah,
Wells, Rasheed
yeah. I
Wallace,
hope
Ruben
this is not a
Patterson.
repeat of that. But Melo is a playmaker, man. He's turning the corner of a lot of things. He's been hurt, but they had to take a little bit of pressure out of the backcourt off of Anthony Edwards. They had to get some pressure off him. Now, whether that be Jalen Brown or LaMelo Ball, I would have preferred a guy like Jalen Brown, who you really, off the court, he's kind of low key. He's very, very low key. He's outspoken, but he's low key. He's very, very Kyrie esque. He's really not that flashy type of guy. But you couldn't go wrong with LaMelo either. This is going to be a very, very exciting team, man. It's going to be very, very exciting, but it's going to depend on the health of LaMelo Ball. I think last year was the was the biggest season that he had in recent memory, because after that first season, after his rookie season, then he went through some years where he was pretty much only playing 35, 45, maybe even 50 games. Now, last year he was able to play 72 games. Let's see your durability. Let's see what you're going to be able to do and how you're going to be able to perform. So, hey, you gotta let's see what you can do, man. But this is a hell of a trade. It's gonna be a blockbuster trade. It's gonna be exciting, gonna be volatile. Like I said, this has that old school Portland Trailblazers, the Trailblazers feel to it. A lot of volatile personalities in this locker room, and it's
Baby,
gonna be
baby mamas in Minnesota are going to be on LaMelo and Anthony Edwards.
yeah, it's gonna be weird at a certain point, but I can't wait to see the product on the court, man, and how they're gonna coach this team up. Will this be the year, since everybody's breaking curses, will this finally be the year that team from Minnesota wins a championship for the first time since the Twins and the Kirby Puckett days? Will this be the day? Then I'm hoping
Yep.
I'm hoping that it will. But it's gonna be a lot of volatile personalities. They're gonna have to learn to play together. It's gonna be a process. I don't think they're gonna get off to this fast start that everybody's expected.
No,
I
no,
think it's
no.
gonna be a maturation process. It's gonna process its way through the season, and I think around the end of the season, around after the All Star break, they'll finally have it together. But at the beginning, it's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ups and downs.
Well, there's going to be a lot of inconsistency because this is their first time playing together. So chemistry does play a role. Um, Charlotte, not only that, they received unprotected first round pick and 3 second round picks for 2029, 2032, 2033. They also get first round pick swaps in 2028, 2029, and 2030. So, look, I think for me, Minnesota did win this one because I believe this is a guy that can help out Anthony Edwards. And besides, there were reports about should Ja and Anthony Edwards play, and I'm like, nah.
No, hell no.
LaMelo is a better playmaker, better floor general than John Morant at that point. And you
Yeah,
talking about trouble between John Anthony Edwards. Either way, but look, my thing is, I think Minnesota will still compete in the playoffs. They'll probably make the first, maybe to the second round. We've seen them look, they've done this before. Remember, they gave up all those draft picks just in order to get Rudy Gobert. And it landed them the back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances.
yeah,
I still believe Minnesota's still gonna compete in the playoffs, but it's still loaded. You still gotta deal with OKC. You still gotta deal with San Antonio. And then when I look at the Lakers, yeah, the Lakers are still there, but I still believe they need to move on from LeBron and go forward with Luca and Austin Reeves. I
yeah,
mean, Houston at this point, no. Phoenix, I mean, they made the play-in tournament, they made the playoffs. You don't expect much. And then when you look at Denver right now, they haven't been the same since Michael Malone. That shows you a lot more about coaching. So, I mean, Minnesota will still be in the mix in the West. So I still believe that Minnesota is. I think for them by adding in Lamelo, do I think it's going to make a major impact? No, but I do think it does help out Lamelo. I'm sorry, Anthony Edwards as far as taking some of the on-ball responsibility. He can move more off the ball. Meanwhile, Lamelo can do his part getting the other guys involved. That's what I think.
yeah. That's absolutely correct. But it's gonna be a lot of growing pains. It's gonna be an up and down cycle.
Well, obviously they're both young, but at the same time, ironically, they were both drafted in the same draft. Anthony Edwards, number one overall, LaMelo, third overall. So it's going to be interesting to see, and interesting to see how the baddies are in Minnesota. But that's a story for another day. But big fella, let's continue talking about the NBA. Shout out to the New York Knicks last week for winning the NBA championship, first time since 1973, breaking that 53-year curse. I thought about an interesting topic for the show, champ.
Mm-hmm.
Which owner would you rather work for? James Dolan or Jerry Jones?
That's easy, Jerry Jones. I'm not, look,
If you're
Jerry had,
not a player, if you're an executive.
if I'm an executive, I'm working for Jerry Jones because the buck stops with him. Even if I make a bad decision, it's it's gonna be on Jerry. They're looking at Jerry, and he has the final say so. I could bring him all of the details. I could bring him all of the scouting reports. I could bring him everything. But the buck stops with Jerry. And when the buck stops with somebody else, and I know that's not a good thing for me to say, I don't really have to be looking over my shoulder like right about now, worried about somebody stealing my job. Because the only thing I got to do is provide the evidence. He's going to make the decision. As a player, executive, or even a coach, guess what? Jerry's going to be held responsible no matter what happens on that field. He's going to be held responsible. So I would rather work for Jerry. Plus, hey, Jerry, he gonna pay. He all about giving up that check. And I could not work for James Dolan considering that it took you years of futility in order to finally step out the way. Say what you will about Jerry Jones, but at least the Cowboys, although they have not won a Super Bowl, they've drafted Hall of Fame players. They've drafted they've drafted great players. They've been able to be competing and getting to the playoffs. So although the the bar is so far up in heaven at this point in time, I would rather work for Jerry, especially as a player. I know Jerry's going to take care of his players. Jerry's going to take care of his players. Good, bad, right, or wrong, he's going to take care of his players. Even if they do get into a little bit of trouble, even if they do have a troubled past. Look at Pac-Man. Look at Tank Johnson. Look at Charles Haley. Look at even Michael Irvin to this day. He's going to look after those players. So I will say this: I would rather work for Jerry Jones than James Dolan. There's the rap sheet of futility is much longer when it comes to James Dolan. It's much longer. At least with Jerry Jones, I know he's trying to win. I know he's going to make the necessary trade, even if it is risky, in order to try to swing for the fences in order to get it done. Because right about now, that Michael Parsons trade, Jerry's looking a little bit more smarter now because Mike is going to be out for the next 8 weeks. He's going
Didn't
to
they
be out
say
for at
four?
least 8 weeks.
Didn't they say 4?
No, 8 weeks. He confirmed by his brother. He's like it's more like 8 weeks. So the injuries he looked like he probably is going to miss, if not a third, then at least half of the season. So he's looking pretty much smart and then he was able to draft Caleb Downs, able to have a hell of a draft and use those draft picks. Yeah, so he's looking pretty much smart on those on that pretty much that Micah trade at this point, much like he was looking smart at that Herschel Walker trade.
Mid-October.
Yeah, he's going to be out to mid-October. So he's looking smarter than he was at first. At first, everybody was just ridiculing him and ripping him a new one. He doesn't know what he's doing. Guess what? He's looking a little bit more smarter now because especially with him being out. With James Dolan, it took years for you to just say, you know what? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Let me step out of the way. And they finally won when you did that. With Jerry, they won without him in the way, and they won with him in the way. And if this were any other team outside of the Dallas Cowboys, we were saying, well, hell, at least the team is in the playoff contention every single year. If this were not the Dallas Cowboys, a lot of his players, guess what? He's drafted great players. He's done a hell of a job in the draft. In fact, the Dallas Cowboys are one of the greatest drafted teams in the NFL right now. You think about getting value late in the draft, getting quarterbacks late in the draft, getting quarterbacks as far as undrafted free agents. Tony Romo, undrafted free agent. Dak Prescott was a third-round pick. So to find value later in later round, look at what's the guy's name? Larry Brown, former Super Bowl MVP, seventh round pick. A lot of late round guys have been able to add value to that team. Look at Larry Allen. Look at the Great Wall of Dallas. A lot of late round guys, because of Jerry's scouting and the way he was able to build that team and learning what he learned from Jimmy Johnson, guess what? A lot of those players who became valuable in later rounds, he was able to capitalize off this team's lack of knowledge. And like I stated, I know they have not won a Super Bowl, but guess what? They've been in playoff contention. They've been in big playoff games. They have been in situations for them to win. Like I stated earlier, a lot of that is on the players as well. I can't blame Jerry Jones because you didn't perform when you throw. I can't blame Jerry Jones when you throw 4 interceptions and the defense can't stop a nosebleed. I can't blame Jerry Jones for that. I blame you for that. I blame the players. I blame coaches. I blame the game plan. But at the end of the day, if I'm a player, I already know. Yeah, they're gonna look at me for like 2 minutes, but then they're gonna look right at Jerry and say, "Okay, so why you ain't brought nobody in here yet?" Now I know it's a sad way to look at it, but yeah, I'm not gonna get a lot of blame. It's gonna be a circus. I'm gonna get paid, but at the end of the day, that organization runs through Jerry Jones. And like I said, for the most part, outside of winning the Super Bowl, Jerry's done a hell of a job drafting. He's done a hell of a job bringing in the correct players. He's done a hell of a job with doing a lot of other great things. There's just other things that I wish he had done, like keep Bill Parcells, like do certain stuff when it came to the coaches, as
But
far
what's
as
but champ, what's the problem with Jerry? What if I always told you with Jerry? What does he have? A big what?
ego,
I can't believe I
a
hate
big
doing
ego.
this. I hate doing this.
But
I'm going with Dolan.
wow, after
Here's
all that
why.
trash you talked about in New York,
Oh, I still think Dolan is a petulant, childish baby owner. And I certainly didn't like the fact that he made the decision to officially announce that the Knicks are going to the White House.
oh, they
I
going?
thought that was, we don't know if they're going. He just went on Craig Carlton's show and he said that the Knicks have accepted the White House invite.
Oh, okay.
If you
Damn.
go back to Josh Hart's tweet back in November of 2020, the time when President Trump lost the election to President Biden, go back and read that tweet and you tell me if he's actually going to go. Look,
I doubt it.
look, champ. Look, on a serious look, the reason why he decided to announce the decision, after all, he's friends with the president. He invited him to Madison Square Garden, Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and he's
Yeah.
the owner of the Knicks and the owner of Madison Square Garden. So, did you talk to the team first before you officially announced that? That's my question with Dolan. Only time will tell. Let me say why James Dolan. Now, obviously, Jerry Jones is the far better owner than James Dolan. No matter if James Dolan has recently won a championship, champ, no one's going to say James Dolan is a better owner. But the reason why I say James Dolan, unlike Jerry Jones, I feel like I'm going to do my job. Dolan, you can't say he hasn't demonstrated that. He did that with Leon Rose. He did that with Worldwide West. Dolan decided to step back and say, you know what? I've been the problem so long for the Knicks. He'll never admit it, but I've been the problem for the Knicks for far too long. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to let them do the job. I'm going to go on. I'm going to go do my music or whatever the hell I'm doing. And I'm going to allow the people to do the job, manage the team, or acquire these players. I'm just going to sit back. Dolan's going to put them in the news for the wrong reasons because, after all, we can't disregard what happened with Anuka Brown Sanders. We can't disregard what happened with Charles Oakley. We can't disregard how he treats the media. The other thing with Dolan, unlike Jerry, Dolan doesn't really talk too much to the media. If you know anything about James Dolan, he stays away from the media. I'm sorry, champ. You talk about how it's all on the players. No, some of it is also on Jerry too. Because the one thing Jerry does do is run his mouth. One thing for Jerry for sure. The moment you put a microphone in front of his face, he's going to talk. He's just like a client at a therapist's office. He's just going to sit on the couch and talk about all his problems and all that stuff. I mean, I'm sorry. Jerry loves to talk. You see, do you find it when he actually goes to press conferences right after the games, win or loses? You see Jerry Jones about to talk. When the Dallas Cowboys talks, you know that other than Dak Prescott, CD Lamb, who's one person you're going to see talking?
Jerry.
Jerry. Who does weekly radio shows? Jerry. Jerry isn't like any other owner that just sits and hides in the press box. No, Jerry Jones wants that attention. And I also think he's also responsible because we talk about the lack of discipline, Chip. After all, look at the coaches. Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, even though Flash thinks that Mike McCarthy deserves far more credit because of what he did for Aaron Rodgers in his career and later on with Brett Favre. But look, Mike McCarthy, are you sure about Mike McCarthy, champ? Do you think he was a product of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers? Because Brett Favre was a made man long before he had Mike McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers, he was projected to be the number one overall pick. Granted, Mike McCarthy refined Aaron Rodgers' mechanics and everything else, but Aaron Rodgers did have success without Mike McCarthy. What was the knock on Mike McCarthy? Clock management issues. And at the end of the day, I'm going to do my job. My thing is with Jerry, if I'm a head coach, are you going to allow me to do my job? Are you going to allow me to lead the team? Are you allow me to help coach these players? Because that's been the question of Jerry. Jerry won't stay out the way. And to your point, it's hard to tell Jerry to stay out the way considering the amount of talent he has accumulated. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, CD Lamb, the trades for Amari Cooper and George Pickens, Des Bryant, Jason Witten, Travis Frederick. Had it not been for the autoimmune, he would have been on his way to going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Zach Martin's going to get his gold jacket in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So is Tyron Smith. So is a lot of players that Jerry Jones has accumulated. But I think with Jerry, the problem is sometimes, Jerry, you do put your foot in your mouth. You won't, and again, champ, we talk about the defense. That is on Jerry as well. After all, you did hire Matt Eberflus. And when we heard the decision about hiring Matt Eberflus, was that not a horrible decision?
Terrible.
And again, champ, Jerry is the common denominator. You keep talking about these players. I brought up the stat for you back in 2019. The Cowboys with the most Pro Bowls: DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin, Ty Smith, Byron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott. There may be one other player I'm forgetting. You know, that year, all those Pro Bowl players didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, I remember that year.
So when I look at Jerry, yeah, Jerry's going to do his thing in the draft and free agency, especially the draft. Jerry's going to accumulate a bunch of talent. Jerry's going to make a ton of money. So far, he's looking right with the Micah Parsons trade, considering the injury. But before the injury, Jerry was kind of looking a little foolish. But fortunately for him, not wishing injury on Micah Parsons, but the injury, they were able to trade to get Rashawn Gary. They were able to draft Caleb Downs. They re-signed Javonte Williams to a 3-year deal. They're able to get George Pickens. The offense is going to stay intact. The question is with this defense, and BRF has mentioned the stat multiple times now on this show. Every team in the NFC has recently been to a conference championship game than the Dallas Cowboys. Don't you find it pretty ironic, champ, that the New York Knicks, given how awful, lousy of an owner James Dolan is, they're still able to get to the finals the first time since 1999 and able to win a championship, breaking the curse, winning in spite of Dolan, in spite of how thin-skinned he is. We all know about Anuka Brown Sanders, Charles Oakley, the Spike Lee incident, everything else. But despite the PR nonsense that Dolan brings, Dolan realizes, look, I'm not the guy to make basketball decisions because you've made some bad basketball decisions, Dolan. Let's not forget the $100 million deal you gave Allen Houston.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. But Dolan is finally deciding to say, I'm going to step back. I'm going to allow these guys to do the job. I will not involve. And I'm going to take care of my players. Like you talk about Jerry Jones taking care of his players. In fairness to James Dolan, he actually does take care of his players. Tyson Chandler is a perfect example. When Tyson Chandler's mother was ill before she ultimately passed away, rest her soul, Dolan actually allowed Tyson Chandler to use his private jet to fly to games. And when games were finished, Tyson Chandler, under Dolan's permission, would take that private jet and fly back home to visit his mother. I'm going to say Dolan because at the end of the day, Dolan is actually going to allow me to do my job. And so far, Dolan has. Dolan has finally stepped back and say, I'm allowed the people who I hired to do the job, and I don't mind them getting the credit. And I'm going to step back, and I'm just going to do whatever I want. Now, do I think that speech he gave to the Knicks players, telling convincing the players to stay away from sex for 10 weeks, that helped? I don't know. I think they
I
were
mean,
motivated.
as a former athlete, I can tell you that it does.
It,
As
it,
a former boxer, it does help with your intensity because after a while, you're really kind of fucking irritable. Excuse me, my bad.
no,
You're
it's
really
all
kind
it's
of
all good.
irritable at a certain point, and that ampness does build up within. No pun intended.
But
But
don't
yeah,
you
it
think they were?
does help.
But don't you think they were motivated prior to the season, considering how the
Yeah,
fact
they
that they
probably
lost to
was.
Indiana
Yeah, they
twice?
probably was. But you when you're abstaining and you're not and you are just purely focused on the task at hand. Like I said, as a former boxer, they always tell you don't be out here doing the do before the fight, especially if you're within 4 weeks of, I say within 6 weeks of a fight, because it's taking away your essence at a certain point, your aura at a certain point. But
No,
hey,
it definitely
I
helps
don't.
you. Well, definitely helps you stay away from the distractions. Hell, I mean, every time I see you with them wags, I mean, you seem pretty.
Let's not put my business out there. but no, but yeah, I mean, hey, as a former boxer, as a former athlete, yeah, it does help with your focus when you're not focused on the poontang. I mean, you are pretty
They need to
much
play the
locked in
song.
on the task at
They
hand.
need to play the song with Chris Rock. No sex in the champagne room.
Yeah, no sex in the shit. Hey, not a bad speech to give somebody. Hey, man, let's try to clear out. We basically saying in so many words, let's just clear out all of the distraction. Now, of course, Mrs. Woods Towns, came
D-
out and
d-
said,
did
I don't
not
think
like it
we.
at all.
She was like, of course, I don't think we did that. We obeyed that rule, but if I had Joy Woods, I wouldn't damn obey that rule either. Fuck that. But I'm just being real.
But the reason why I say champ, obviously, I'm gonna say Dolan because for the sole purpose, despite the PR nonsense and headaches that he'll bring, he's gonna allow me to do my job. And he realizes, look, I'm not responsible. I don't know basketball. I don't know this type of things. Therefore, I'm gonna hire the people around me to do the job. That makes me feel something. Because when you come to work every day, champ, don't you feel like if a boss or someone or a supervisor gives you a responsibility, you want to do that job. You want to do that job. You want to show them that you're capable of doing something. You want validation. We all want validation.
Yeah,
And I think Leon Rose has done a tremendous job with this team, getting the right players, getting Mikal Bridges, the trade for Carl Anthony Towns. Jose Alvarado addition coming off the bench, and by the way, he's going to stay with the New York Knicks. So I'm gonna say Dolan. Now, who's the more likable owner? Obviously, that's Jerry.
Jerry.
Who's the more popular owner? Obviously,
Jerry.
that's Jerry. But if I'm an executive and if I want to do my job, I'd rather go to the Knicks because Dolan can't say, I know what I'm doing. He
Yeah.
can't say that. Jerry, even though he gets in the news for the wrong reasons as well with the things that comes out of his mouth, Jerry can say, I know what I'm doing. After all, look at the amount of talent I've drafted and accumulated. And the buck stops with him. And we talk about the lack of discipline with the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry, that's also on you because you won't hire an authoritative head coach. That's another reason why the Dallas Cowboys have struggled. If they had an authoritative head coach, if they had a strong minded head coach, you wouldn't have all these problems, Jerry. Matter of fact, Jerry, you sometimes with your judgment, uh, I do recall your own son preventing you from drafting Johnny Manziel.
Yep. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. But I'm gonna go with Jerry, man. Like I said, most popular, most likable owner. I know I'm gonna get paid. The buck stops with Jerry. That's not the attention. Not necessarily gonna be on me. It's gonna be on Jerry. Even if I'm a player, Jerry Jones. Because even if we lose that game, yeah, I'm gonna get blamed for like a week. But at the end of the day, they're gonna blame Jerry. And I know that's taking accountability off my back. So be it. But at the end of the day, my organization is going to number one take care of me. Number one, as far as compensation and a little bit of everything. And I know that Jerry is going to do his job in making sure this talent roster. The rest is up to me. The really, to be honest with you, the other thing Dallas is strongly criticized, but at the end of the day, the only thing they really got to do is play football. All criticism's going to go to Jerry. If you're a
Well,
Dallas Cowboy, if you win games, the only thing you got to, if you're a Dallas Cowboy, the only thing you have to do is win. Because whether you do your job or not, whether you win or lose, all of that credit gonna be hit to Jerry Jones. So I have no problem with the credit going to somebody else. Hey, you built the team, you bought the team, you're the reason that they're the most popular team. Give me my check, and I'm gonna go try to win us a championship. And like I stated, he's taking chances on guys for troubles. Like I said, Pac-Man, just to name a few, Tank Johnson, you name him. He's taking a
Nate
lot of risk on
Newton.
a lot. Ezekiel Elliott, like I stated, I think Dez Bryant. Remember there was controversy with him coming out of college,
Well, hell,
and
I mean, after all, you brought in Greg Hardy.
yeah, you brought in, yeah,
I'm sorry, but that happened.
yeah,
That's
it
on
did,
Jerry's watch, and Jerry's responsible for that, so that's on him.
yeah. So he did bring in Greg Hardy, was willing to take. He's willing to take risk. He willing to take his with him is high risk, high reward. So you can't, I can't be mad at that. You could have chosen to picking up Greg Hart is kind of like, when the Golden State Warriors picked up Joe Smith. So,
Oof.
but yeah, that was what that was. But fortunately for Jerry, most of it has worked out. When he's made a bad trade, when he's made certain trades in recent memory, it's worked out. The only one that didn't work out was Roy Williams. When he traded for Roy Williams, when he traded 2 first rounders for Detroit. Got
Right.
Amari Cooper. It worked out. Thus far, from what I'm seeing on paper, it's working out with the Michael Parsons trade. And look, can you imagine the ego boost within the next couple of years off the heels of that damn trade? Can you imagine the ego boost? Can you imagine
But that's only
how
if
big
they
Jerry's ego is going to be if he's able to get a Super Bowl off the heels of that trade,
but
off the
that's
back of that trade?
but champ, that's only if they win. They
They
have
have a big chance to win. They have a
but
pretty good chance.
good chance. I mean, he ain't getting any younger. The thing is with Jerry, you haven't won. Forget winning a championship. You haven't been to one. You haven't even been to a conference championship game. And yes, we
Mhm.
can look at the players. We can look at a lot of other things. But at the same time, Jerry, it doesn't help sometimes when you open the door and when you say certain things. How much do you think that also puts a lot of pressure not only on the players but also on the rest of the coaching staff? I mean, with Dolan, look, Dolan. The thing is with Dolan, he doesn't. One thing I know about James Dolan, he doesn't talk to the media.
No.
For the most part, he stays away. He doesn't have anything to say. With New York now that they've won the championship, now that they've officially broken the curse, I believe they have a chance to come out the East yet again with the roster as presently constructed. Dallas, to me, can they win? Can they compete in the NFC East? Sure. Are they going to make a deep playoff run? Probably not. A lot of good teams in that NFC. I mean, come on, we can't disregard Seattle. We can't disregard what the Los Angeles Rams have done.
Yeah,
Even with the AJ Brown trade, they were able to get Malachi Nelson, the Philadelphia Eagles. You've seen what the Commanders have done. You've seen what the Giants have done. The Packers are still going to be there with Matt LaFleur. So my thing is with Jerry, you ain't getting any younger. And I feel like, look, Brian Schottenheimer, to his credit, did a good job as far as with the offense, but you got to improve that defense. Now you got the new guy who came from the Philadelphia Eagles. I believe the defense will improve because there's nowhere to go at this point but up. But I think for Jerry, look, are you going to allow the people that you hired to do the job? Are you going to actually step back out the way? Now, we're not going to say you can't step out of the way when it comes to the draft because you've done your part with the draft. But there's more to it than just talent, champ. It's also culture and structure. And with the Dallas Cowboys, it's kind of like a circus.
yeah, that's fair. But you know what? In the great words of a great man by the name of Paulie Dangerously, aka Paul Heyman, where there is chaos, there is opportunity. And I like so hey, I'm gonna go where the chaos and the opportunity is. So and that's just me. So I've taken my chances with Jerry.
Man, that's like trusting a crazy dude with fire matches.
I mean shit. I mean, hey, either he can power up an entire apartment building or he can burn the whole damn thing down. It's high risk, high reward with Jerry. So
But the thing is, champ, don't you feel like the worst thing that ever happened with Jerry Jones is when he fired Jimmy Johnson and won with Barry Switzer? Because that gave Jerry the validation. I don't need a great head coach. I don't need a great GM. I don't need the right ingredients in order for me to win. I'm gonna do it my way. It's been 30
yeah,
years. And yes,
there's
he's done his part by getting the talent, but still, what has it done as far as on the field is concerned? Yes, we understand the players, we understand the expectations, the amount of money, but still, in all, Jerry, there's more to it than just talent. And we keep talking about the lack of structure and discipline with this team, but Jerry, you keep hiring these yes guys. You keep hiring these guys that is not gonna put their foot down. I just think for the Cowboys to win, you need structure with the head coaching spot. You need to hold players more accountable. And if you want the players to maximize their potential, you have to hold them more accountable, letting the players know, hey, I'm paying you a certain amount of money just in order for you to produce. And it's not resonating on the football field.
I'll take Jerry's rap sheet over Dolan's. Like I said, for New York Knicks fan, it was years of being just futile. At least I can say this because going on with one of my close family members, they're a Cowboys fan. I can honestly say, yeah, heartbreak in the playoffs, among a lot of other things, but at least I'm able to come into this season expecting to at least go to playoffs, at least contend, at least be a force within my league. I don't come into the season expecting to lose under a shitty ass owner, and I know that Jerry's not going to tolerate losing for very, very long. He's not going to tolerate even mediocrity for very, very long. So, with that being said, I'm taking my chances with Jerry.
And with that being said, I'm taking my chances with Dolan because I think with Dolan, as long as he stays out the way, which that's going to be hard to do in terms of PR because he's just going to be a PR nightmare. But more importantly, Dolan has shown me, unlike Jerry, I've hired the right people around me to do the job. It has translated for us not only getting to the finals but winning a championship, and we
Yeah,
may have an opportunity to run it back. And I think with New York, with the roster as presently constructed, they can still compete. It is shocking that James Dolan has recently won a championship than Jerry Jones. because I never thought in my wildest, I never thought James Dolan would actually be capable of winning a championship. But he stayed out the way. My problem is with Jerry, how bad do you want it? We know you want to win, but are you going to do something else? Are you willing to sacrifice? That's my question with Jerry.
That's fair.
But hell of a great conversation, man. Great minds always think alike. Um, I've gotten on the big fella for a lot of few things. I got him that Saints towel. He unfortunately he's using it to stomp on it every chance he get, every time he steps out of the bathroom shower. I don't know what he's gonna do with that Tennessee Vols flag. He's probably gonna put it somewhere. I thought he was gonna burn it. I could have gotten him a Peyton Manning Tennessee Vols jersey. I don't think he.
It's going to go at the very bottom of the Wall of Fame. It's not going to go up on the Wall of Fame. It's going to go in one of the corners around here of the Wall of Fame. It's going to go up there, but it's not going to be up high where the other guys are. It's going to go on the low end of the Wall of Fame. I'll put it up there because it's a gift. It is a gift from one of my good friends, one of my best friends.
I gave you
It's
an
going,
Aints gift. You said you ain't never gonna be there.
yeah, Aints is not going to be on the Wall of Fame. We're going to find another place to put it, but
I'll
Tennessee.
probably give it to Mama Champ. Mama Champ will probably be a Saints fan.
No, mom will never turn her back on the Cowboys. Mom been a fan since start back, so she's been a fan since then. So I doubt that. But man, it's a great gift nevertheless, man. Sports memorabilia always a good gift when you're a sports fanatic like myself, man. Look at the wall. Over half of this came from PSP, especially when you look at the left side of the wall. My left, your right. So yeah, man, appreciate stuff like that. Even though they are gag gifts and stuff like that, appreciate them, man. It's that's not the norm. For somebody to see your gift, that's not the damn norm, and don't nobody have to do shit for you. So appreciate it, people. Appreciate it. Even though it might make you just like, but it's like, yeah, it's a gift nevertheless. And we got to stand down south. Never look a gift horse in the mouth, man. Never look a gift horse in the mouth. So,
Big fella, I'm afraid you may buy me some crazy shit because
no, I wouldn't do. I
no.
wouldn't have.
Here's why: Brandon Ayuk can't stop running his mouth. What the hell is going on with Brandon Ayuk?
Oh, well, y'all side him. I'm definitely sending you a jersey.
What the hell is going on with this dude? You know that this dude said if the 49ers cut him, I'll sign with Washington. In case if people don't know, he fired his agent back in November. And not only that, he's going on IG, social media. Did you see the video of him throwing the money?
I'm gonna say this, if I could interject real quick and
Go
just
ahead.
go into it. He's going the Antonio Brown route, but he's only got like a fourth of the talent.
As
He
Emmanuel
doesn't,
Acho put it.
and I hate to steal somebody else's thunder on that, and I have to give Emmanuel Otto, the great journalist that he is, New York Times bestseller, but I have to say he's going the Antonio Brown TO route with a third of the talent, maybe even not even a fourth. And you got the bag. Thing is, those guys were doing stuff for contracts. You got the bag. You're in a perfect system. You just didn't do what the hell you were supposed to be doing. Only thing you had to do was show up to rehab meetings. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do. And you chose not to go to rehab after you saw and lost $28 million. Let me say that again, because you did not go to rehab on time. You did not go to team meetings in order to rehab yourself. You lost $28 million in all of your guarantees on your contract. You are a brand new fool. That's just being real. And you
Dumbass.
can't go this route when you have an injury history and when you are in trouble with the law. What makes you think that Washington is going to bring you in? This is not the Dan Snyder days. If this were the Dan Snyder days and Jaden
There
Daniels
was
was
there was
quarterback,
more than likely,
yes, more likely than not, he'd be in Washington. But I don't know if Josh Harris and Magic Johnson are looking at Brandon Ayuk and saying, hey, we're going to sign you to this major fat ass contract to go alongside with Terry McLaurin and put you in a position in order to win. I just don't see it at this point. I don't see it. He's talking about the commanders can command. If you were going to take this route, you never should have signed that contract because they gave you the bag. At first, it was about the contract. Then you got hurt. Now you're driving 100 miles per hour. They got a warrant for your arrest. Now, every other day, you're on IG. And you can make a damn fool out of the 49ers right now and get some of your guaranteed back just by showing up to training camp. That's the thing. He can make a fool out of everybody right now just by showing up to training camp. Just by saying, I'm here, and they got to pay him for showing up.
Well, I don't think he's going to show up because did you hear what George Kittle had to say about Brandon Ayuk in case the teams actually take a shot at him? But my thing is, champ, why the hell would Washington take their chance with Brandon Ayuk? The only reason why is because of Jaden Daniels. That's it. Y'all were good friends. Y'all were good boys at Arizona State. But nobody, if I'm Washington, I wouldn't even consider it. It's just an absolute waste of time. That dude, look, as Emmanuel Acho put it, he's doing the same shit like AB is doing, but he's not even the talent that AB is. Brandon Ayuk, I don't understand why he tripping. You had a 4-year, $120 million contract you signed.
Exactly.
You making $30 million per year.
Why are you got the bag?
Why are you complaining? You just signed the contract and you want the 49ers to cut you? The problem I also have with him, champ, is the people around him. They're allowing him to go on the air and say all this type of stuff. Somebody gotta tell him, nah, stop. We're not gonna allow you to go on social media and make a complete fool out of yourself. It's like every time words are coming out of his mouth, it's like he's blowing smoke out his ass. It's just embarrassing, champ. And my thing is with Washington, I really think with this new ownership, I'm really gonna take a shot with this dude, given that he's coming off an ACL injury and given how he's acting. I mean, there was the viral video. There was the video of him going 100 miles per hour. Now there's a warrant for his arrest. Now with all these other issues going on, hell no. If I'm Washington, I'm not taking that chance.
No.
This dude is delusional.
The dude he's a couple of beers short of being a six-pack at this point because I don't understand. And the difference between T.O. and Antonio Brown is they were trying to get the bag. They were trying to get more guaranteed money. That's how come T.O. was acting a fool in Philadelphia. That's how come Antonio Brown towards the end was acting a fool in Pittsburgh. It was about that money. But you got the money. And you squandered it. And there's no guarantee. Look, the thing is, with those two guys, you knew they was going to get a contract. With you might not get another $120 million contract. You may not. You may not. And you got to go somewhere else where another receiver is the number one guy, that being in Scary Terry. Yeah, you're going to be on a lot of proven deals.
And what happens if he joins Washington, champ? If, let's say, hypothetically speaking, if he joins Washington, if he decides to join Washington, do you actually think that do you think he's actually going to settle being the number 2? He's not
being the number 2 because he was somewhat
of at this point with his ego, with his attitude, do you really think at this point right now he's going to settle being the number 2? No,
I don't think he is. And the thing is, he's going to go to Washington, tripping, and that's going to be the end of that in Washington. He's going to be another Antonio Brown. But like I stated, it's just like those guys, I understand their grievances. They were trying to get their money. You had your money and you squandered it. $28 million, and you lost all of your guarantees. You had just signed a contract just last year, right before you got hurt. Only thing you had to do was show up to meetings and go to rehab. That was more than half the battle, and you couldn't even do that. And if you didn't want to be in San Francisco, which, hey, power to you if you don't want to be in the first class organization like San Francisco playing up under Kyle Shanahan. If you didn't want to be there in the first place, why'd you sign the damn contract?
Because they were offering him a hell of a lot more money than what any other team would offer him. Plus, not to mention, it is the Bay Area. That's a nice market. But my
Yeah,
thing is, why are you tripping? You just got the money. And I don't want anyone to compare T.O. to Antonio Brown or Brandon Ayuk. T.O., did he handle some things right, champ? No, obviously. But let's not compare T.O. to this.
yeah,
T.O. won this. I just think with Brandon Ayuk, I don't know, what are you complaining for? You got your money.
yeah,
You 4-year, $120 million contract, $76 million guaranteed, and you're tripping. And how is what you're behaving? How is this helping you get other opportunities in the NFL?
yeah.
The only reason
Because
why Antonio Brown was back on the NFL was because of Tom Brady. Hell, Tom Brady even allowed to come live with him at his place. As you always say, champ, hey, not only you can't stay inside my house, I won't even allow you to have a tent outside my house.
exactly, you ain't coming nowhere near my hut. But I'm gonna just be real, man. That Brandon Ayuk is a prime example of why a lot of receivers get a bad rap, because you going out here acting a fool after you got in the bag. It's one thing when you acting a fool, acting out because I deserve to be paid, I perform, I deserve to be paid. That's one thing. When you're just kind of getting pissed off about your contract situation, but when you've received the bag and you still acting a fool, because if you can't handle yourself after you got, it's one thing when you ain't got the bag and you kind of handling it the wrong way. You've received the bag and squandered it. You've squandered it. You got the bag and squandered it. So how's that going to look? And how's that going to look for a team that brings you in? Because if you fail at that team, are you going to blame them too? So that's long and short of it.
Shout out to Dwayne. He said, "Yeah, I've seen Antonio Brown act crazy yesterday." Oh yeah, does you remember the video of him going off on Zay Flowers? I don't get it. I don't understand it. I feel like you're making more money than your wildest dreams. You're playing in a big market. You're the number one target on the team when healthy. So why are you complaining? I could understand him not getting the money, but
Yeah,
you already have it. Therefore, why do you feel like you're in the need to do all these things? Not only you're hurting your opportunity with the team, you're hurting your opportunity with any other team in the NFL because they're looking at you right now with the way you're behaving. Why the hell should we give you a chance to play on our team, let alone giving you this amount of money? So if I'm Magic Johnson, Josh Harris, hell no. If I'm Jaden Daniels, regardless of my relationship with Brandon Ayuk,
no,
hell
you
no.
can't come here because you might jump. Because the
No,
thing
you
is,
you're gonna jeopardize and you're gonna ruin this dude's
yeah,
confidence, and it's gonna become a distraction for the rest of the team. There's gonna be countless media members. They're gonna be asking a bunch of questions about what's going on with Jaden Daniels and Brandon Ayuk. No, we don't need that. I
no,
think for Washington, I wouldn't waste my time trying to bring Brandon Ayuk. If you
no,
bring him, then hey, that tells you that Washington still hasn't learned from their past, even after they've moved on from Snyder, which is
yeah,
a damn shame. Because if this were Dan Snyder, I expect dumb shit like that. He's one of those owners you really have to look at and cringe. Dan Snyder, I'm referring to. I'm sorry, Chip, but you look at him and you cringe. You're like, that's a dude. That's the dude you want to stay the hell away from.
Yeah,
But
not to mention he was a CLB.
Lord,
You know what a CLB is, don't
I don't even want to know.
you? You remember what? You remember Jim Ross used to call Christian a CLB, the creepy little
Oh,
bastard.
oh, oh.
So he, not to mention he was a CLB to the fullest extent. So
But the dude's a creep though.
yeah, he was creepy.
But my thing is with Washington, no, they should not consider bringing in Brandon Ayuk on the team. And besides, next year's wide receiver class, I mean Jeremiah Smith, there's a bunch of other wide receivers and talent. They can look at other wide receivers in free agency. Last thing they need is somebody like Brandon Ayuk on the team. Because how is he going to help the team? I mean, he's coming off a knee injury and he's behaving like this. Nah.
Yeah.
And look, George Kittle already told you, hey, no, I'm paraphrasing, but know exactly what you're signing yourself up for by getting Brandon Ayuk on the team. And again, this is coming from his teammate who's been around him on the offensive side of the football field. Doesn't that add some stock? So if I'm Washington, hell no. If I'm San Francisco,
Get out. Get
well,
out.
well,
Get out of here.
how you gonna cut him unless he gets involved with some crazy situation? And I don't think you can get any trade value with him at this point because nobody wants to touch him.
No, you're gonna have to cut him. You gotta cut him.
Sadly, sadly. Yeah. Shout out to our guy Dwayne. He said, "Did you hear about the Detroit Lions player?" Ugh.
Never mind. Next.
Big fella, what are your thoughts about the whole Brendan Sorsby situation? I mean, I think a judge gave him the opportunity for him to go back and play in college football, but then he tried to enter the NFL supplemental draft, but was rejected. Now, he may not be eligible to play for the NFL, enter the NFL until April of 2027. What the hell going on with Brendan Sorsby? I mean, I don't even think the CFL or the UFL even wants to take a shot at him.
No, the CFL has banned all of his
Yep.
representation from communicating, and they made it clear he will not be playing in the CFL this year. I think the only shot that he may have is the UFL, unfortunately. But they're making an example of him at this point, and rightfully so. They're making it clear that gambling would not be tolerated in the sport of football, and they're setting a precedent. Like, look, we understand that y'all are getting this NIL money, and that you're pretty much getting away with bloody, you know what, in college, but you're not going to bring that gambling nonsense in the NFL. And it's been proven that he gambled on his team when he was in Indiana. It's been proven. It's one thing if you couldn't prove it, but it's been proven. He openly admitted it. So guess what? They're making an example. Look, there's a lot of things that the NFL will tolerate. As we all know, there has not even been discussions about James Pierce or even a suspension at this point. And we all know Atlanta is my team, but they have not discussed. There has not even been a discussion of a suspension with him. There has not been a discussion for you know um, Mike Vrabel and his team. There's not even been a discussion as far as conduct detrimental to the team, as far as on his part. There has. But when it comes to gambling, remember, look, if you want to know how serious.
Remember Calvin Ridley?
Yes, I was just about to go there. If you want to know how serious the NFL takes gambling, consider the fact that Deshaun Watson and Calvin Ridley both got suspended for an enormous amount of time. Remember, he got suspended for all the situations that he had at the massage parlors and
I
stuff
think it
like
was
that.
I think it was 11 games he was
It was
suspended.
11 games. They
Calvin Ridley
suspended
got suspended the whole
the
year.
whole season for $1,500 for FanDuel. He got suspended for $1,500 on FanDuel. That's how serious the NFL takes the integrity of the game in gambling. And they're making an example. The NFL literally canceled the entire supplemental draft just to keep his ass up out of there.
Let's not forget
No.
Let's not forget Jamison Williams, the former Detroit Lions wide receiver. He was suspended for the first 6 games of the 2023 season
Yes, they
for
don't play.
betting on non-NFL games while inside an NFL facility. Because he did
Yes.
not bet on NFL games, he avoided an indefinite ban. His suspension was later shortened when the NFL updated his policy. So they're making an example out of Brendan Sorsby, how the fact that he gambled and how he was able to weasel out of the suspension. But
Yeah.
the thing is, he tries to enter the NFL draft
Nope.
and gets rejected. And not even the CFL wants
No.
no parts of him. So
There's
you
nothing
have
bigger than that shield, and they take the integrity of that game super serious. You're not going to do any damn thing to endanger this shield. Where you're not. You could do whatever you want to, long as you don't do that over here. And that's just the NFL and the football. Don't be surprised if the UFL comes out and say, "No, you can't play here, brother." Don't be surprised if he ends up. Don't be surprised if he ends up down here playing with the Columbus Lions, one of the Arena League teams. Because guess what? When you come out next year, if you have to sit out the entire year and you have no time in or anything like that, guess what? You're gonna go. You might not even get drafted, and this might be the beginning of the end for you. We may see another situation like Arch Leicester, where you are banned for life before your career even gets started. Well, you're not officially banned, but you're banned for life at this point because nobody wants to take a chance on you. So that's just how it goes at this point. This is basically his year suspension in the NFL. This is the suspension that he would have gotten had he been in the NFL or had he been an NFL player and he betted on his team and betted on football. Guess what? You were going to serve your suspension. There's no easy way out. And like I stated, I have no problem with them making an example out of somebody, especially a quarterback. Because how do I know you're not going to get your behind somewhere and go out here and throw another game? And now the NFL is looking very, very silly because of you. So, yeah, they're making an example. Okay, we're going to make an example out of anybody who wants to gamble in this league. We're going to make an example. Now, here's my problem with the NFL. I wish you took that same energy with everything across the board.
especially when it comes to serious issues like domestic violence.
Exactly. So I understand gambling is bad, but what's hurting me more? Losing $1,500 in a football game or putting somebody's life in danger? I like to say the second thing. I just wish the NFL took that same energy with everything. But they just made an example out of them, and that's the only thing that they're doing is just making an example out of. Okay, you college kids, you want to gamble, especially since that new policy just came out. Now guys in college, they can bet on professional games.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making an example out of, okay, you want to gamble, you have that freedom, but you're not going to gamble in the NFL. That's all it is. They're just making an example out of it. And I have no problem with somebody being made an example of, especially when you did something stupid. Even if it was me that did something stupid. You're being made an example of, well, I did it. I'm sorry, but that's the consequences that I got to take.
I don't have a problem with it because after all, he brought it on himself. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. $90,000.
Yeah.
Like I'm reading it right here on Google. Thank you to Google. $90,000 refers to the minimum amount of money quarterback Brendan Sorsby admitted to wagering across thousands of college sports bets. Sorsby's extensive gambling history includes bets on his own teams, while at the University of Indiana resulted in the NCAA declaring him permanently ineligible and brought a sudden end to his college career. Look, my thing is, look, this is what's going to happen. Gambling is obviously a big, serious issue. And obviously there was going to be harsh punishment. After all, Calvin Ridley. I already beat you to it, champ. Calvin Ridley, he was suspended the entire season. So, especially the fact that he plays quarterback, I think they're going to hold him to a higher standard. My problem is, champ, the punishment. How they're so harsh with the punishment with gambling, but when it comes to serious issues like DV and SA, it's more of a slap on the wrist. Again, champ, Deshaun Watson, he was suspended for 11 games. Calvin Ridley was suspended the entire season.
Yeah,
Doesn't that say
but
something?
that's just
Doesn't that tell you this is what the NFL, what football usually typically deals with?
yeah. But the thing is, this I would say this: NFL is now in bed with a lot of sponsors. They're in bed with Vegas a lot more, and they don't want to. You're not going to. The bottom line is the bottom line. Good, bad, right or wrong. The bottom line is the bottom line. And if you are making your fans think, or your fans, or Vegas, or anybody else gets the inkling that the NFL is scripted and it's more like the WWE than it is a regular football game, and the players and you know anything like that, then it's going to be some repercussions behind that, because it's just like, hey, if this is the WWE, ain't no sense in us having no game, because only thing we got to do is get somebody on the inside and we know what the result is. And that's the last thing that the NFL wants when you have billions of dollars in gambling sponsorships piling up on. I mean, when you got over a $10 billion deal with somebody for sports gambling with FanDuel, and then you got the presidents of Fanatics, he's embedded in the NFL. There's a lot of these sponsors that are involved, and now there's minority share groups that are involved in the NFL that have ties to these gambling companies. So with these minority shares and stuff like that, there's a lot that these guys have on the line. And if they get the slightest inkling that the NFL is WWE and it's predetermined, they're going to lose a lot of money. So that is why they don't tolerate gambling. Good or bad, right or wrong, the bottom line is the bottom line. If it comes down to making an example out of somebody because they're endangering a $10 billion entity, that being sports gambling, versus somebody doing something stupid outside of that, they're going to choose that every time because that affects their bottom line. Should that happen? No. Should every crime be taken serious, especially DV, harassment, and things like that? Yes. But it's the NFL. It's going to be about that bottom line.
That's just how it is, unfortunately. And I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon.
No.
But interesting conversation, big fella. But we may actually finish the show actually a little bit early because BRF, unfortunately, I wish he was here. I'd love to hear his perspective on these types of things, man. But let's get into it. Baby face or heel. Now, for those who may not know what baby face heel means in wrestling language, baby face is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, tweener is someone in between. So I come up with a list of athletes, celebrities, or whoever, and me and the panel, we decide whether they are a baby face, heel, or tweener. All right, first one, Justin Herbert. I'll say baby face in terms of his character, how the way he is. I mean, tremendous quarterback. He's
Yeah.
still a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I do think outside of CJ Stroud, he's under a lot of pressure heading into the season because the Chargers, they've done their part to surround him with talent. And still, in all, he hasn't won a playoff game. And look, the first playoff game, the 27-point choke job, you really, champ, correct me if I'm mistake, correct me if I'm wrong, you really put that more on Brandon Staley. I can't
Yeah.
defend the second playoff game against Houston, which he threw four
No.
interceptions in that game. And in that third game, he didn't play as bad as the second one, but still it wasn't enough. Matter of fact, Drake May didn't even play that much better.
No.
So when unfortunately with Justin Herbert, I hate to say it, champ, but he's going to end up in that same category with Breeze and Rivers, Drew Brees and Philip Rivers, exemplary quarterbacks, very good quarterbacks. as well as Dan Fouts. You mean you look at the Chargers, the rich history of offensive talent. Those quarterbacks that I've mentioned, Antonio Gates and LaDainian Tomlinson, rest his soul, rest his soul, Vincent Jackson. Herbert's gonna probably end up like that. And look, they've got him the head coach and Jim Harbaugh. Justin Herbert has been the most talented quarterback that Jim Harbaugh has had to work with outside of Andrew Luck. So, but I lean towards babyface because again, Brian Flores had something. Because remember, it was reported he did not want Tua in the draft, Tua Tagovailoa. He wanted Herbert. Dolphins, for whatever reason, decided to go with Tua, and obviously, Brian Flores was right.
Yep.
I'll say babyface for now.
Babyface. He's not done anything outside of, if really what makes you a heel is what is the things you say in your character. He hasn't done anything that would uh, deem him to be a low character type of guy. I would say he hasn't done anything to be a low character. The only problem that I really had with him is he tried to avoid that reporter that one time and tried to talk to his team. It's your job to talk to the press. That's probably the only thing that I really can say.
What
That's kind of
reporter?
cheap. So. Hmm?
What reporter? I don't know which reporter you're referring to.
It was on Monday. I think it was on Thursday Night Football Prime. Go back and look at it. He was the lady reporter. I forget her name. Was trying to talk to him as far as post game, but he was like, "I want to go celebrate with my teammates." And he was like, "Well, just talk to her real quick. It's your job. The first person they're going to go to is the quarterback." So
Oh, okay.
but that was probably the only thing. He has to get it done in the playoffs. Got to win a playoff game. But we've seen this before. The difference between back then and now is that everything is amplified times 1,000 now. That social media, sports are 20, 37, 37/7. Everybody's recording and talking about sports 37 hours a day. It's only 24 hours a day, and it's a little bit crazy. It took Peyton Manning a good little minute to win his first playoff game. We've seen stuff like this before. He had some terrible games, especially against the Patriots, even against the Tennessee Titans, and even the Jets, where they didn't even score a touchdown. So, we've seen guys have some bad games before. It's all about how you handle it. Once they bring everything together, you come back to it. So, I got to label him a babyface right about now. You can't really get mad at you really can't question his character at this point. So gotta label him a babyface. Babyface is a babyface.
All right, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Dabo Sweeney, tweener.
Tweener, I'll say, I'll say this if I can. The thing is this: my problem with a lot of these old school coaches is when you were winning because the rules favored you, you didn't have no problem. Now that the rules don't favor you as much, now you want to complain, and you don't evolve. You have to change with the times as a coach. That's the reason why a lot of these coaches are able to succeed now. That's why come Kirby Smart is still able to succeed. You have to evolve with the times. There was a time where you can recruit off of name alone. There was a time where you can recruit off of being a powerhouse school. There was a time where you could be a recruit off of being on TV every week. There was a time that you could recruit with under the table recruiting. Now you have to compete and you have to find guys in the transfer portal in order to bring your team up. So I mean, hey. Plus the thing is, it's not the fact that you losing; it's how you're handling it. You can tell a lot more about a man when he loses more so than when he wins. When he wins, everything going his way. When he losing and he out here cursing out the media, cursing out kids on the radio and stuff like that. You must don't want to win. Like, bro, you're not winning at this point. That's the fucking problem. You out here cussing out fans on the radio and stuff like that. One thing I will say in the silver lining of all this, at the end of the season, he said, if I get fired, deservingly so. That's the main thing that I can say. Finally, you said something and was accountable. But you got to change with the times, man. I understand you have, Christian upbringing and things of that nature, and you view NIL as very, very kind of corrupt. But the thing is, you view the NIL, the transfer portal, a little bit as corrupt. But the thing is, when y'all was using these students and giving them pennies on a dollar and not what they were worth, y'all wasn't complaining. Now y'all ready to go to Congress and do all this bull jive. We have to get college football back under control. No, it's just not under control because you're losing. It's not under control because rather than go to your school and get $100,000 and a Rolex and a Dodge Challenger, I can go somewhere and get $5 million in a free education and get some other stuff on top of that. So that's the thing. Stop trying to stop these young men from getting paid because it's not benefiting you. And I get so tired of the old heads. And granted, I'm 39 years old, so I'm an old head myself, about to be 39. Get off of these young men. You're not willing to sacrifice. Sacrifice for fucking what? Sacrifice my body and I can't go to the NFL and I can't do what I need to do. I can't take care of my family, my kids, or whatever because of the greater good. Were you thinking about the greater good when you sign your coaching contracts? Do those coaches think about the greater good when they leave teams like Bobby Petrino did on several different occasions?
Not to mention him lying.
Huh?
Not to mention him lying.
He's not to mention him lying. Like Nick Saban has done on 2 different occasions. How he left LSU, then left Miami. Do you tell coaches in order to be committed to those children? No, you don't. They're allowed to get big fat contracts. They get a big buyout, and if they choose to leave, they go somewhere else to get a fat ass contract. And nothing is ever said. Now that it's in the players' court, and you have to go and do your job as a coach, guess what? Now it's all of a sudden, well, it's getting out of control. No, it's not. It just doesn't benefit you. In the great words of a famous Super Saiyan named Vegeta, it's just enough because you're losing. And how you handle losing is the definition of you much more so than winning.
I say tweener. Dabo has done his part as far as turning around Clemson. But the problem is with him, he won't get ahead with the times.
Yeah.
And I just think that's what's costing Clemson. And that's why, again, they're having a hard time having the success that they've once had. If you know what you have to do, why can't you do it? And to your point, old people talk about not young people not making the sacrifice. What for? For my body to get hurt? What happens if I get hurt? How am I still going to be able to pay for the scholarship? How am I still going to be able to continue going to this program? So players deserve the right to be compensated because their opportunity to make money compared to you is short. So give these players these opportunities to make their money.
Yeah.
But Dabo, if Dabo gets fired, I definitely see him transitioning into media, TV, something like that, because he has enough of a personality, knows the sports. But the problem is with Dabo, if you keep having on this attitude of not changing or not getting ahead with the times, you're going to stay exactly where you are, or you're going to get worse.
Yeah, you either get better or you get worse.
DeAndre Hopkins. Tweener. Do you remember the Michael Irvin story on how the Houston Texans traded him to the Arizona Cardinals?
No, I don't remember that. What's that?
Michael Irvin, he was on Get Up, ESPN's Get Up, and how Bill O'Brien and DeAndre Hopkins had a final meeting before the trade. And Michael Irvin recalled from what he heard from DeAndre Hopkins or whoever, the last time I had to have a conversation like this, it was with Aaron Hernandez. And the other reason what Michael Irvin reported, Bill O'Brien had an issue with DeAndre Hopkins' baby mamas around the team, the practice facilities, stuff like that. But still, you traded him and you didn't even get a first round pick. You just
Kept on
basically
bad
traded
too.
him for a tuna sandwich and a bag of Skittles.
Yeah.
But DeAndre Hopkins, as a receiver, in his prime, I would say he was top three, top five.
Hmm.
One of the best hands in the NFL.
Yeah.
And man, him and Watson during their time. I mean, think of all the quarterbacks he's had to work with. I mean, before he had Deshaun Watson, he had Brock Osweiler, he had Matt Schaub, he had Case Keenum, he had TJ Yates, he had a bunch of other guys until he had Deshaun Watson in 2017, 2018, 2019. He gets traded to Arizona. I mean, the Cardinals were starting off well. Him and Kyler, the young quarterback wide receiver duo. Remember that incredible catch that he had against the Buffalo Bills?
Hmm.
I was
DeAndre at his peak was great.
yes,
Not to mention that fight that he had with D'Angelo Hall. I'm a grown man, bro.
yes. I say he a tweener.
I say babyface. I don't.
Why so?
I don't really look at. I don't. Has he done anything egregious in the
I
league?
don't think he's gotten to any like legal
No.
issues. I mean, look, regardless of what people want to say about his baby mamas and stuff, I don't care about that stuff. As long as he's not getting himself in DV or anything. I mean,
Yeah, he's
people
not in
acting
any.
as if he's Stephon Diggs. Like,
Yeah, he's not in any DV in trouble with the law. Is or anything like that. He's not. My thing is when I put you in a tweener conversation, it has to be because of something with your character. Just because you're a very, very emotional player, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of emotional players. Ernest Givens from the Houston Oilers was a very, very emotional wide receiver. That didn't necessarily make him a bad guy. So yeah, I really can't put him in a tweener conversation. He wasn't in trouble with law. He wasn't in trouble with anything else. Or
would you say he's more tolerable to deal with as opposed to a guy like an AJ Brown?
yes,
Yeah, because we know what
none of
AJ
his
Brown
teammates
has
have ever,
done.
none of his teammates have ever come out and say DeAndre D Hop was a bad teammate. None of them.
Right.
Well, he was difficult to deal with. None of them. So, and the thing is, the only thing that you can really point to and say that he was looking, he was. You could paint him in a different light situation with D'Angelo Hall. But D'Angelo Hall, he's very damn emotional. Remember how he used to talk to Bobby Petrino on the sideline, rightfully so, by the way. But hey,
I agree. All right, last one. Going. I'm sorry, Lamella Ball.
next, I can't. He's a hard tweener, borderlining on heel, but I don't know, bro. It's just like it's a lot of crazy nonsense that he be doing, and it's just like, damn, like you know, damn near. Did he run over that person or?
You mean the incident with him driving his I don't
Yeah,
remember.
did he
I have
wreck?
no idea.
Did he run over that person?
I have no idea.
Because they made a meme about him earlier today. Now that he out of Charlotte, people are looking both ways because they got
He
people.
was frequently caught on camera running red lights and driving aggressively. The two-car collision at a busy uptown Charlotte intersection when his custom Hummer crashed into a sedan.
Yeah, you got to stop doing that crazy stuff in Minnesota, man. And plus, him going on Monday Night Raw and saying
Oh
knock that
yeah, I remember.
out. Yeah, so you gotta control that. They did get on TV saying, I got all type of, like it's tweener, but it's likable. But it's just like, come on,
I
bro.
would
You
say
got
more. It's a likable tweener because he has more of his father's personality.
yeah. So it's just like, bro, you got to chill sometimes, bro. You got to chill. But it
But
ain't
I don't
nothing
know.
too.
But I don't know how he and Ant gonna chill in Minnesota with all them baby mamas and all that stuff. So
I mean, shit, man. We always get these dudes hell because they got a lot of baby. Hell, Tom Brady got more than one baby mama. There's a lot of guys who have more than one baby mama, bro. Unfortunately, a lot of a certain demographic of cats, they get a bad rap because they got multiple baby mamas. Hell,
That's true.
Fucking president got multiple baby mamas, got multiple wives. So let's just people always want to, he got a lot of baby mamas. Here, when you look at a lot of other rich ass guys, a lot of them have multiple baby mamas. Unfortunately, they're not going to get that. They're not going to get labeled because they mega billionaires versus being a millionaire player. You know,
But
that's
that's
just
what
how it
comes
goes.
with it, though. And you,
Yeah,
yeah, but
but the
champ, that's
thing
what
is, you're gonna if a guy is doing the same as me, how you not saying that he has? Here, like I said, Brady has multiple baby mamas.
I
Don't nobody
understand.
break. Nobody ever brings that shit up.
I understand that, but you always know there's a double standard. You've always
Yeah,
told me that. You've told me that. You told me again. Sorry if I have to play race into the equation, champ, but you can't do what white people do and think it's going to be good. And yes, I think it is viewed negatively because obviously we as black people, when we have our issues with baby mamas or baby daddies and stuff, we get viewed negatively compared to
yeah.
other
These rich
demographics.
billionaires. I mean, and it's not just certain demographic. It's just like a billionaire. These millionaire football players can have multiple baby mamas, and they're gonna. Well, he has multiple baby mamas, but when these rich
But the
ass
thing,
billionaires and they owners of teams and they get multiple baby mamas, nothing gets said about it.
because I feel like because of the amount of money that they have the money, they have the resources, the children are going to be taken care of, everything like that. What's the likelihood of somebody like us with having baby mamas being multi-billionaires? What happens if you and I we have baby mamas dealing with baby mama issues? Do we have the money, the resources, the finances like those multi-billionaires? No. So we're going to
No.
be judged and viewed negatively. You know that.
Yeah, that's how come I don't have any. That's how come I don't have any. And I make sure, and by the grace of God, I have made sure. So
Uh,
thank
I'm
God.
I'm I- I'm staying away from women at this point. In the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin, DTA, don't trust anybody. Don't
I
trust
mean, it's not
anybody.
so much just don't trust anybody. Just got to be careful who you trust. You know.
Yeah, I don't want to get involved with nothing. I'm working too hard with my podcast. I'm trying to save up. I'm trying to do whatever I can. The only person I'm taking care of, the only woman I'm taking care of first and foremost is Mama. After Mama, then D, and after D, I can take care of nobody else. That's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like with you. I mean, if there's one woman you gonna support at all times, it's Mama, and then
And
after her is Ace.
yeah.
But interesting one for Babyface, her heel. But speaking of a heel, favorite Mr. McMahon moment.
You gonna get us kicked off the damn L. Uh, oh man,
Well, your mom,
Mister McMahon.
your mama almost kicked you out the house one time when she saw Mr. McMahon and Shane versus Shawn Michaels and God. She almost kicked you out the house that day.
And now she made me turn that shit off. Uh, especially no, it wasn't the first time she made me turn the TV off during that time. Remember when the corporate ministry came out? My mom's a hardcore. She is a hard. This was the Bible Belt down south, man. So one thing you don't do down south is blasphemy. You don't play with the Lord. So hey, turn that shit off. I don't want to hear nothing about the corporate ministry. But that was just crazy. One of the incidents that I was like, it was crazy. It's me, Austin. And then
Yes.
when he was the higher power, that was the funniest shit in the world. That's me, and it was even more sweeter with the way that what Jim Ross said in the background. It just made it even more just. He said, "It's me, Austin," and then all the thing you heard with Jim say is, "Oh, SOB." And then, I mean, the way he said it's like, I knew something was up, but man, that WrestleMania, WrestleMania versus Shawn Michaels, that was good. The segment with Stacy Keibler, that was very entertaining. You didn't know that was,
Oh, him on the table, like,
yeah, that was very, very entertaining. Uh,
well,
the WrestleMania 19 with Hulk Hogan. That one was good.
well, there's some entertaining photos of Mr. McMahon, including this one.
Yeah. Um, The
Let's not
Buried
forget.
Alive match with him and the Undertaker. I have never. They talk about the beating he took at the hands of Shawn Michaels. I have never seen Mr. McMahon take an ass whooping quite like he did with the Undertaker back.
Especially with the first punch that
Yeah, the
Undertaker
first
hit
punch
him,
he was
busted.
bleeding. First punch he was bleeding. Then he hit Vince with that shovel. I mean, he beat him from all the way up the ramp, all the way. I mean, just beat him to death. But that was crazy. People might not like this segment, but it's just like it was crazy as hell. I would say it was the greatest moment, but the Trish Stratus moment, that was crazy as
You
hell.
stole my moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well,
Um,
I don't know if there's anything crazier than him kissing Rikishi's ass.
yeah, that was
Look at the size of that ass.
I'll never forget you, Russell. Look at the size of that ass. no, no,
Oh man,
it was crazy. Vince was he is a circus act in a corporate suit. It was amazing. The Montreal Screwjob, that one was crazy as well, man.
but that's
Because
what led to Mr. McMahon.
yeah, that's what pulled the curtain back for Mr. McMahon. That was what pulled the curtain back, and Montreal Screwjob was the beginning of that rivalry between him and Stone Cold Steve Austin. There was a lot of other great segments. I will say, The Rock when he hit him in the face with that trash can, uh, when he was in that limousine. I really think that um,
Remember with Austin with the toy gun? He said
yeah,
McMahon 316 just said I just
I
pissed
just
my
pissed my
pants.
pants. Uh, him bringing Mike Tyson in, him yelling at Steve, "You ruined it! You
You
ruined
ruined
it!"
it.
That was crazy. That was weird. Um, man, a lot of great moments. Oh yeah, the one of the most heinous acts. I know most heinous is not a phrase. I got a thesaurus. I got a dictionary. I know most heinous is not a phrase to use. But one of the most heinous act in the history of wrestling, the 2006 Hell in a Cell match, DX versus the McMahons in the
And
Big Show.
Big Show. Remember when what they
That
did to
was
what DX did to Vince by putting Vince's face on Big Show's ass?
that was heinous. And then finishing that off by hitting him over the back with that sledgehammer. Boy, I mean, humiliation and then devastation. So it was hit it so hard that the sledgehammer went spinning. It
Yep.
was just so. Uh, Look, Armageddon, 1999, when he faced off against Triple H. That was a pretty good match, good knockdown, drag out match. Um, when he finally came back to the WWE, when the when Triple H was just beginning to start that heel run, and Triple H act like he wanted to push up on Linda McMahon, and Vince McMahon came out. Listen here, you blank blank blank. So that was a good moment, man. A lot of great moments with Mr. McMahon. You say what you want to about Vince and his little antics and those billionaire habits that he has, because it seems like, just gonna be real, a lot of those billionaires, whether it be especially in the entertainment industry, they all have the same habits for some reason. Just being real. So
Well, what did I say about Kanye and Vince McMahon? I mean, they're geniuses in a way, champ. They're brilliant in what they do as far as entertainment, but at the same time, you kind of cringe when you look at them when they do certain things. You remember when Kanye when he did that interview with DK Academics, that outfit that he wore, right? And do you remember Vince McMahon when he acted gangster Vince McMahon when he would
what
say,
up, G?
"Holmes, what up, G?"
What up, Holmes?
And I'm like, what the fuck is
Not to
Vince
mention the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass
as
Club. That is
I feel bad for
What?
JR anytime when he wasn't he the first one?
No, it was William Regal. I never forget.
Yeah.
William Regal said, "You don't literally want me to sit down and get out on my knees and kiss your bottom in front of." And then he looked. That's exactly what I mean. I'm like, is this gonna happen on TV? And then that damn William Regal being as prideful as an aristocrat as he was, he just did. He just. I'm like,
Oh man.
Big Mac.
There was one good moment you forgot to mention, champ, in 2006 with Vince McMahon. Remember the Spirit Squad? Remember when DX impersonated as Vince and Shane, and Vince, Shane, and DX, Spirit Squad were about to attack DX, and then shit flew all on the sky and landed on them.
You're full of crap.
I'll never forget Jerry Lawler when he said, "JR, there's coin there." Oh my god, I was laughing. I think for me, Mr. McMahon versus Austin. To me, that's like the greatest rivalry in history. That's a rivalry a lot of people, wrestlers, love, because you got a hardworking, beer drinking, finger gesturing guy like Austin who takes no shit from anybody, including anyone from authority, that will not kiss ass, that will not do whatever authority or anyone tells him what to do. To me, that's really more of the Rock Magic Bird rivalry, champ. Even though we talk about Rock and Austin, that's more of a rivalry because, again, how the way those two characters work with each other. And let's not forget Stone Cold when he impersonated as
A
Dr.
doctor.
Austin, and then he hit Vince in the head with that steel pan.
Bing.
And then, of course, the week before, him driving to Detroit with the Zamboni.
Yeah.
So
Austin got McMahon. Austin got
McMahon. Oh yeah, he's gonna crash the party.
He's gonna
I mean, Vince, say whatever you want about Vince McMahon, the person, the human being. You cannot tell the story of wrestling without him.
No, he is wrestling.
Like I said before, respect the art, not the person. I said that with Kanye. I've said that with R. Kelly. I've said that with a lot of people. Vince McMahon, there's genius to him. I mean, there's a sick mind to it as well.
Yeah.
But he is brilliant as far as with the promos. But one of the creepy promos he wasn't in, but I believe he was the producer of it. Eric Bischoff kissing Stephanie McMahon, as you mentioned, champ.
Yeah, that was moving on. Go ahead. I'm not gonna say what came to my mind at that point when I saw that shit, and I found out as I got older, and I found out he was the producer. I'm like, you a weird little bastard. You know that? You a weird.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, of course, man, there were some great moments. I mean, from Vince. But him and Austin, the rivalry, of course, going back and forth. I mean, I I won't forget the Valentine's Day match. Him and Stone Cold, him flying 20 feet
Off that damn cage.
and then Stone Cold, and then as they're about to take escort Vince out of the match, Stone Cold was like, "Jackass, jackass, that's you in the black. Is the son of a bitch still breathing? Well, since he is still breathing, if you want me to whip his ass, give me a hell yeah."
Oh man.
But I mean, damn, but Vince, man, he crazy. But to me, I'm sorry. I know your mom will get mad. I'm probably gonna have to clip this. Sorry, Mama Champ, but Mr. McMahon and Shane versus Shawn Michaels and God.
Hey, just don't tag me in this shit when you do.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to tag you.
Well, basically, yeah, but yeah,
I have to. You're part of the show, but at the same time, but if Mama Champ has a problem with it, hey, tell Mama Champ, hey, look, this is on me. Okay, so don't put this on Champ. But damn, your mom, she really hated Vince McMahon.
She could stand Vince. There was a lot of people. There's two people that I really knew my mom three people that I knew my mom did not care for. That was Vince McMahon, Nick Van Exel, and Dennis Rodman. Those three guys she did not like.
But
So
how the hell did she like Jerry Jones all this time?
I don't know. It's the team with Jerry Jones and Dallas Cowboys. It's more or less the team, not the person. I don't really think she cared for his ass neither because she's
Did
just
she
been a
care?
fan of the Cowboys since Starback.
Did she care for his ass when he was with Bill Clinton in that press conference? Slick Rick, as you
And
called him.
no, she didn't like that either. So yeah,
But man, I mean, Vince, say what you want, man. He knows, as you said before with Eric Bischoff. Yes, Bischoff did start it off first, but Vince McMahon did perfect it.
yes indeed.
And the Attitude Era, to me, that's the best era in wrestling. That was the edgier, but Mr. McMahon versus Stone Cold, the rivalry. I mean, how the way those two characters got to each other. My other favorite Mr. McMahon moment, even though it wasn't really much of him, the match between Taker and Stone Cold, First Blood.
Yeah, end of an era match.
Yep. And then
Somebody's gonna
JR
bleed. Somebody's gonna leave.
and then JR is saying, "Ring the damn bell! It's over. Austin's the champion, and Vince McMahon is leaving."
No, 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 no,
No,
no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no.
Oh
Oh
hell
hell
yeah!
yeah!
Good.
Goodbye. Oh man, but oh, Battle of the Billionaires.
Yeah, when yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I I just say yeah.
well, you don't want to say it. I'll say it. When Donald Trump, and then I love Jerry Lawler's commentary on that. I mean, that was a time, man. But um, you know what? There was after that, it was the one incident with him and Lillian Garcia.
Take your leave.
No, remember when he was hiding the fact that he was bald and he was hiding underneath Lillian Garcia's.
Wow, have mercy.
It happened.
It did.
I'm not. Am I fabricating? It
No,
happened.
no, I'll never forget when he ran up on Ron Simmons. You remember Ron? He was like, "No, Ron, no, damn."
Oh man, that but oh, I can't believe we forgot this one. Mr. McMahon's illegitimate child.
Oh, and let's not forget his apology to CM Punk.
Yes.
I apologize, you.
Oh man, that was great. I'll never forget when Hornswoggle was Mr. McMahon's illegitimate child, and then Triple H is just laughing at him, pointing the finger at him.
Shout out to Sophie Kennehan. She got the.
Oh man. And last but not least, to finish off the show, favorite John B track. I do what you say. Of course, people are gonna pick "Are You Still Down," but there are a lot of other tracks from John B that he really did that you really need to listen to. Besides, "Are You Still Down?" and "They Don't Know." Just listen to "Mystery for Two," "Overflow." Take the time to listen to "Tell Me" from the Pleasures You Like album. "What Do You Want?" "All I Can Do," "Ooh So Sexy," "In Too Deep," "Body Language," and then "After the Party."
Yeah. Oh, let's not forget someone to love,
Mm-hmm.
someone to touch, someone to hold, oh, someone to know. That one was good, man. That was good, man. So John B, man. epitome of soul power. Epitome of soul power. Pretty Girl was good too. Don't forget about Sugar Hill. So, hey, Are You Still Down, man, is good. And They Don't Know is pretty good too. Those are the two of the most iconic ones as far as They Don't Know and Are You Still Down, man. Because when that beat comes in, it's just like it just does something to you. It
Especially
does
when he
something to you.
sings in the part when he says, "You're my angel,
Nothing's gonna make you fall from
fall
heaven.
from heaven,
Girl,
girl, I
I
just
just wanna
wanna
love
love."
you. Love. I
There
know I
you go.
sound terrible, but huck.
But that's we were blessed, man, with great music back in the '90s.
Hell yeah, man. That music, it was just like you could get your romance song back then in order, you could put that music on and be romantic back then. These days, shit, it's weird out here. It's weird out here. But you see, this ducking you, but you duck if you buck all the time. But yeah, man, got to give up to John B and big ups to Babyface, for a lot of the songs that he wrote for him, man. Because you know, but somebody can write songs for you, but you got to be the one to perfect it at a certain point. So man, shout out to John B, man. That was soul. Yeah, be like I said, it's just like you know the R&B version of Clay Thompson. So, but yeah, that was cool, man. That was cool, man. But Are You Still Down? That's got to be the most iconic. Unfortunately, it is because of a late great one. But you got to get credit where credit's due. You get on the track with Pac, you're a made man forever.
I do what you say. Are you still down? They don't know. But again, listen to the mother tracks, man. Just listen to the mother tracks. And but yeah, man, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Sorry, everyone, we finished the show a little bit early. That's because again, BRF wasn't here. We always love to have BRF's perspective. Hopefully, we'll have him back next week. But we
Yeah.
hold it down for him. Big fella, final words before we wrap up the show.
Oh man, I don't have any words because this is the damn earliest I ever got off. But I got a whole night ahead of me, so I can't go to sleep. So, man, big ups to Sports PSP, to the Sports PSP podcast now at 140K. 140K. 140,000 people. 140K. Big ups to PSP. Working hard, man. I call him the Tom Joyner of podcasting for a reason. I call him the Tom Joyner podcasting for a reason. Tom Joyner content creator for a reason. Because hell, sometimes I be slipping on my content, and then I get a call from PSP. Hey man, you forgot to report on this right here, and I'm like, yeah, I did. And then you'll hear a lot. Like I said, just because Sports PSP is not on the Undisputed Goat podcast doesn't mean he's not a part of it. Because, like I stated, there's a lot of contributions that he makes on the TikTok side of things. A lot of contributions that he make as far as helping write the show, as far as bouncing off ideas and things of that nature. As far as the memorabilia and decorations for each and every last one of them. There's a lot of things that goes into it, and a lot of that is owed to PSP. So, big ups to
Thank you.
PSP. Big ups to everyone that's going through anything right now. Hope that you make it through. Remember, we're on the heels of Men's Mental Health Month at this point in time. I would rather hear your story than go to your funeral. Check on your people. I'll say that again. Check on your people. Don't be around here thinking it's all about you all the time. It ain't. It ain't all about you. Pick up that phone. It takes 5 seconds in order to send a text message. 5 seconds. Maybe even less than that, depending on how fast them fingers is. So check on your people, man. Check on your people. You remember, you know, everybody's our brethren. Read into that what you will. And look, man, you know, be safe out here, man. Be safe out here, man. It's kind of weird getting off at 9 o'clock. We usually on here at about 10, maybe 11. Even we especially during football season. We cross over into the next day on the pod.
Well, that's because we haven't had much stuff to talk about. But as always, please follow the big fella when it comes to the WNBA. Check out for some more WNBA content. Unfortunately, Caitlin Clark won't be able to play tomorrow. She's been ruled
Back
out
in
due
there.
to injury. Elisa Thomas, I checked the reporting champ.
Yeah, she got
Look,
suspended.
I saw the video, but I didn't think it was intentional, but at the same time, just looking at it, she was going to get suspended. So they're going to try to make an example out of her regarding that. So my thing is, but I don't think Alyssa Thomas should be viewed or perceived as a dirty player unless she has a history of doing this type of stuff.
Alyssa Thomas is the Draymond Green of the W right now, man.
There you
Remember
go.
she choke slammed. Remember she choke slammed damn Angel Reese her rookie year, and I never forget the very next year, Reese Angel set a hard ass screen on her, damn near knocked her out because she was trying to grab on to Angel Reese as she was going down because she didn't know where she was at. But AT is the Draymond Green of the W, and look, let's just put it into perspective. Everybody in the W gets their behinds kicked. We see it every game. Every single game, somebody almost get into a fight. There's a confrontation. There's a hard foul. There's a favorite foul. They have to review different plays. It's very, very physical out there. The only thing
Absolutely.
I don't like about with the whole Caitlin Clark situation is the media coddling. It was like, they need to protect her. No, do you really think that players did not attack Bird and Magic when they first got into the league? All they were the saviors of the league.
I think they're
People
just
were
doing.
attacking
But champ,
people were
they're just rewriting history.
people were
As
attacking Michael Jordan. The bad boy Pistons was trying to take his head off. Even when he played the New York Knicks, he said it himself. Charles Oakley was my best friend. We go and ate dinner every single night that we would play. But when I was on that floor, he tried to tear my damn head off. So they're not going to coddle you at this point. Even Angel Reese said, yeah, they don't give a damn about me and Angel Reese. They're going to attack me just off the strength of me coming in as being a rookie. That's
but
the only
champ,
problem that I have with it. It's just the media coddling. It's
but
just
the
like
problem.
everybody's getting beat up, then you're going to get beat up. It's not. It's not going to stop just because you're who you are.
Yeah, but champ, as I always tell you before, media narratives. They're gonna keep on running with narratives.
I mean, when the
Unfortunately,
narrative is there, I mean, what narrative can you run with? If
no,
everybody, if you walk up to a joint, if you walk up to a gambling place and everybody getting punched in the face, what makes you think this dude over here is not going to get punched in the face?
but big fella, you always tell me all the time with narratives, they always run into that bullshit. Even if you provide facts and details and everything else, they still going to argue, disapprove, or ignore all of that, and focus on their point. No matter what, Caitlin Clark just has to continue working on her game.
Yeah,
As far as getting treatment is concerned, how much more treatment do you need? And plus, you're already complaining enough anyway with the refs.
yeah,
So my thing is just chill. But
yeah,
always please check on Champ when it comes to his WNBA content. Um, although he can't stay away from them wags, but that's a story for another day. But and also one last quick shout out to the beautiful and amazing Mama PSP and the beautiful, amazing D. She's
yes,
in
indeed.
Mexico having a good time. D, I love you. Hopefully we'll get to visit in New York City. Hopefully one time if Champ does come to New York, hopefully he'll see you. He would love to see you or go to Columbus.
Yeah, we'll take you to Smith and Malinsky's when I come up there, D.
Why can't you just take her to a WNBA game? She wouldn't mind that.
All right, we'll take her to Smith and Malinsky's or somewhere like that. Go to WNBA game, man. D's my homie, so got to take her somewhere.
Hmm. And on that note, we're gonna wrap up the show and we is out.